New Cutting Edge Upper Intermediate by Sarah Cunningham and Peter Moore. Published by Longman. CD 2. Module 5, Recording 1. A.
Britain's oldest teacher has just celebrated her 75th year at a village primary school. Elsie Gamble, 94, set up Cotteswood School in Woodthorpe, Nottinghamshire, in 1927 as a teenager to get out of doing the household chores. Then, the fees were £3 a term. Now, they are £700. But little else has changed in 75 years. Pupils still wear uniforms and are drilled in reading, writing and arithmetic. "Everything goes on more or less as it did when I began it," said Gamble. "I always say, if you have a good beginning, you can go on from there."
B.
Jit Kaur Randhawa from Hayes in West London had more reason than most people to feel nervous when she took her driving test a few years ago. Jit Kaur had already tried 47 times to pass her driving test, spending more than £10,000 on driving lessons without success. Imagine her joy when the examiner turned to her and said, "Congratulations, Mrs. Randhawa. I'm happy to tell you you've passed your driving test."
C.
James Hughes, 35 years old, is believed to be the world's biggest film addict. After seeing his first film at the age of 6, his parents took him to see Pinocchio as a Christmas treat, he has seen nearly 10,000 films. He currently goes to the cinema at least 6 times a week, an average of about 800 films a year. He records every title he has seen in his diary, with a star rating, and, given his current rate of viewing, he hopes to achieve his ambition of seeing 20,000 films by the time he is 40. When asked for his favourite film among the films he has already seen, Mr. Hughes, who is unmarried, has no hesitation. "Pinocchio," he says.
Module 5, Recording 2. 1.
One thing that I think has really made a difference to people is having running hot and cold water. And as basic as it sounds, I think that, I just can't imagine now being able to, get washed and do the washing up without, I think it's amazing that we have that constant supply of hot and cold water just coming through our houses.
2.
I think one of the most important technological developments in recent years has been the internet and the difference that it's made to people's lives, not just in communications, but, for example, I do all my banking now by internet. I used to be terrible for paying bills and paying checks into the bank and things like that, and now I just sit there and front of the screen, tap away and get it all done without any of the legwork or the writing letters or anything that I used to do.
3.
One person that I really admire is Steve Redgrave, the rower, and certainly the greatest Olympian ever to come out of Britain. He has won 5 gold medals at consecutive Olympic Games, and I think his not only his ability, but also his personality is an inspiration for everybody. What makes his achievement even more admirable is that he was diagnosed with diabetes during his training, but he's battled on and he's been a role model for many people.
4.
One achievement I find absolutely amazing is the construction of Stonehenge, because the stones were moved several hundred miles from somewhere in Wales to where they stand, and no one really knows how they did it because it was about 3,000 or 4,000 years ago.
5.
I think probably the most outstanding leader I've ever heard of is probably Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi. The British Empire was at its height. It was the most powerful empire in the world, and he brought it down. And not only did he bring it down, but he did it without the use of violence. You look at how governments operate today and how regimes and empires are destroyed, all using violence. I don't think anybody else has ever brought down such a massive empire without the use of violence.
Module 5, Recording 3.
Hi, Marina. What's the matter? You've been crying again, haven't you?
No, I'm fine. I've just been watching a sad film, that's all.
Oh, I see. Tell me, have you heard anything from Andrew today?
Who? Oh, him. No, I haven't thought about him all day, actually.
Oh, really? So you've forgotten about him already, have you?
No, that's not true. I've been trying to get through to him all day.
Haven't you managed to speak to him then?
No, I've left about 10 messages on his voicemail. Oh, why doesn't he phone?
Marina, your phone! It's ringing. Aren't you going to answer it?
Module 5, Recording 4.
You've been crying again, haven't you? So you've forgotten about him already, have you?
Module 5, Recording 5. 1.
You haven't been trying to phone me, have you?
2.
They'll have finished the work by Thursday, won't they?
3.
We haven't lost the tickets, have we?
4.
You haven't heard this story before, have you?
5.
They've moved house recently, haven't they?
6.
You'll have finished with the car by 6, won't you?
7.
You'd forgotten it was my birthday, hadn't you?
8.
They hadn't seen the film before, had they?
Module 5, Recording 6.
Bay. Boat. Bite. Bow.
Module 5, Recording 7. 1.
Actress. Danger. Face. Maid. Talented.
2.
Cope. Host. Model. Moving. 1.
3.
Fingers. Life. Rivals. Tribute. While.
4.
Below. However. Known. Now. Show.
Module 6, Recording 1. 1.
Take every opportunity to use the language, speaking to foreigners in chat rooms, whatever, and try to resist the temptation to translate everything word for word. Sometimes it just isn't possible.
2.
You should never wear something just because everyone else is wearing it. Always remember, wear what you feel comfortable wearing and what looks good on you. Fashion is about expressing your own identity.
3.
Be careful not to overdo it. You might easily injure yourself if you're not used to taking exercise.
4.
Of course, you should make an effort to be friendly, but At the same time, make sure you don't appear too keen or over-friendly, as this can put people off.
5.
Start by finding the right teacher. It must be someone you like and trust who will give you good advice and encouragement. And above all, allow plenty of time for practice. Playing well requires time and dedication. There are no shortcuts.
Module 6, Recording 2. 1.
When do Chinese people celebrate New Year?
The Chinese don't celebrate their New Year on the 1st of January. The exact date varies from year to year, but it's usually around the end of January.
2.
When is it common for people in some countries to have a siesta?
It is common to take a siesta or short sleep in many hot countries, Spain and Mexico to name but two. The normal time for a siesta is after lunch in the middle of the afternoon.
3.
Newcastle is a city in which part of the UK?
Newcastle, a city once famous for its shipbuilding, but now better known for its football team, is situated 450 kilometres north of London, in the northeast of England.
4.
Which is the largest sea or ocean in the world?
The largest ocean has an area of 166 million square kilometres, and it contains more water than all the other seas and oceans of the world put together. It is, of course, the Pacific Ocean.
5.
Jeanne-Louise Calment, who died on the 4th of August 1997, is famous for being
The world's oldest woman. She was 122 when she died.
6.
If you went for a boat trip on the river Vltava and went climbing in the Sumava Mountains and went sightseeing in Prague, which country would you be in?
All of these places are to be found in the Czech Republic.
7.
Where will the next Summer Olympic Games be held?
The next Summer Olympics are to be held in 2008 in Beijing, in China.
8.
Lake Titicaca is not the largest lake in the world, but with an area of over 8,000 square kilometres, it is the largest lake in South America.
9.
Austrian Reinhold Messner is famous as
the first man to climb Mount Everest without oxygen.
10.
When was the former president of South Africa, Nelson Mandela, released from prison?
Following 26 years in prison, Nelson Mandela was finally released in 1990. He became president of South Africa 4 years later.
Module 6, Recording 3.
Oh, this is so annoying. Where on earth did I put my car keys?
Not again. Have you looked on the kitchen table?
I've looked everywhere.
Hannah, you really are hopeless.
Thank you. I suppose it's too much trouble for you to help look for them. Oh, look. Here they are under this magazine.
Well, that just goes to show. What you need is some kind of system for where you put things. You're always losing things. It's absolutely ridiculous.
You've got such a nerve. It was you who lost all your credit cards the other day, and it was me who found them for you.
Yes, I know, and I'm extremely grateful to you. But you do need to get yourself organised with keys.
Module 6, Recording 4. A.
I'm absolutely exhausted. Let's stay in and rent a video.
Oh, you're so boring these days. I want to go out.
B.
I really like living here because it's so near the centre of town.
That's true, but it gets really noisy at night.
C.
Thanks for everything. We've had such a nice evening.
You're welcome. Come again soon.
D.
I suppose you want to see Liz.
No, actually, it was you I wanted to see.
E.
Why on earth are we inside on such a beautiful day?
Well, it was you who wanted to spend the day at a museum.
F.
Oh, this tooth is so painful.
You know, you do need to go to the dentist's.
G.
What's all this broken glass? What on earth have you been doing?
Don't blame me. It wasn't me who broke it.
H.
Your friend was really lovely. I do hope you'll invite him again.
Yes, I will. I think he really enjoyed the evening as well.
I.
Come on, let's go to that new club.
Look, I really do think it's time we went home. It's nearly 3.
J.
I really think you ought to apologise to her.
Why on earth should I apologise? It wasn't me who started the trouble.
Module 6, Recording 5.
There are a number of key principles of the so-called Montessori method which are still used in Montessori schools worldwide and widely copied and adapted elsewhere. Let me summarise these briefly now. Firstly, there is the belief that children learn better if they are placed in what is called an enriched environment. That is, an environment which stimulates the senses through pictures, sound, colour, touch, etc., and in which the children themselves can choose from a wide variety of activities. Children need a wide range of activities from which they can choose what they'd like to do, rather than everybody having to do the same thing at the same time. Secondly, the idea that children learn through purposeful activity, not just play, but activities with a purpose, for example, making something, drawing pictures, etc. Given a choice, children will choose work rather than play. Toys which do not serve a specific purpose are therefore discouraged. And thirdly, in order that children develop confidence and self-esteem, they should always be treated with respect and should be allowed to develop at their own pace, a sharp contrast to many of the disciplinarian attitudes which were prevalent at the time when Montessori was developing her ideas. Having looked at those principles, let's look briefly at some of the key events in Montessori's later life before summarising her influence on the world of education today. In her later years, Montessori travelled widely, spending several years in Spain, India and the UK. It was typical of her energy that even in her 70s, she remained as active and dynamic as ever. She was nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize on 3 occasions, in 1949, 1950 and 1951. She died in the Netherlands in 1952. She had previously insisted that she was buried there rather than in her native Italy, as she considered herself a citizen of the world. The influence of Montessori is still widely felt today. She was among the first to put the learner at the centre of the learning process. As she wrote herself, "We teachers can only help the work going on as servants wait upon a master." There are now thousands of Montessori schools in more than 50 countries, and former students include Jacqueline Kennedy and the British Royal Princes William and Harry.
Module 6, Recording 6. 1.
Take my advice. Go to Australia.
2.
You could always try New Zealand.
3.
Have you thought of coming here to Malta?
4.
The most important thing is to pick the right school.
5.
I'd check there if I were you.
6. 6.
If you ask me, you can't beat the USA.
7.
Try logging on to the Study in the USA website.
8.
How about coming to Ireland?
Module 6, Recording 7. Advice. Advise. Cash. Module 6, Recording 8. Like advice.
Discipline. Experience. String. Website.
Like advise.
Choose. Citizen. Downstairs. Visible.
Like cash.
Discussion. International. Ocean. Rush.
Module 7, Recording 1. 1.
One thing that I attended earlier this year, I think was one of the most important events I've ever been to. It was the anti-war demonstration. I think it was March or April this year. And it was one of the most moving events I've ever been to. I must have been one of about 1 million people, and we filled the streets, and the atmosphere was so positive. The idea that we all believed the same thing, that we could maybe change the ideas of some politicians, I don't know. But it was just incredible, and I found myself crying at some points and laughing at other points. But the overriding feeling was that I was proud of myself and proud of everybody else who was there.
2.
I think something I'll never forget is when I was in Moscow, and this was a few years ago, and while I was there for about a month, they were celebrating the 800th or the 850th, I can't remember which, anniversary of the founding of Moscow. And it was absolutely amazing, because for about a week, the city just completely came alive. There were loads and loads of people all over the place. They just closed off streets, and they had street fairs and parties, and there was one evening I was standing outside St Basil's in Red Square, and they had this huge orchestra and like this choir with 500 voices or more, anyway, thousands, God knows, and they did the 1812 Overture, Tchaikovsky, and it was absolutely incredible. I mean, it's not my favourite piece of music, to be honest, but just standing there surrounded by these Muscovites, and with all this cannon fire and this noise and these voices and the orchestra, and everybody was crying. It was absolutely incredible.
3.
I think one of the best things, most impressive things almost, that I've ever attended was when I went to see Nirvana. And this would have been, gosh, ages ago, 1991 maybe, 93, can't remember. And it was one of the first gigs that they did in London. And I remember this place because it had a balcony, and we were sitting on the balcony. I was with my boyfriend at the time, and it was utterly spectacular because people from the audience were just going up onto the stage and just diving off the stage. Well, the band were playing and everything. Nobody took any notice of them, but it was just this constant stream of people from the audience getting up and just diving headlong into the crowd and surfing, you know, across the top of the crowd. So all the bodies were just being passed along by the other people in the audience. It was just amazing. It was just amazing.
4.
Right, something I'll never forget is the time I went to Brazil, and I actually arrived on the 31st of December, which obviously is New Year's Eve. And as soon as I got there, the people I was staying with, they said, okay, well, you've got to come to a traditional Brazilian New Year's Eve festival, which was on the beach. So we all went down. As you know, it's really hot at that time of the year in Brazil. So we all went down to the beach, and I'd been told I had to wear only white and gold clothes. So I had to get together white and gold clothes. We all went down to the beach, and then we had to go right up to the sea and throw rose petals into the sea. And 10 hours previously I'd been in London where it was really, really cold. And suddenly I was there on the beach with all these people throwing rose petals into the water. And in some way it was really, really magical.
Module 7, Recording 2.
Children's Day. A national holiday in Japan since 1948, Children's Day on May the 5th, which used to be known as Boys' Day, is the day when Japanese families wish their children happiness, good health and success. In Korea, where the day has only been a holiday since 1975, there are parades, special excursions and visits to movies and museums.
Mother's Day. In 17th century England, young servants who lived away from their families were allowed to visit their mothers on a day which became known as Mothering Sunday. Nowadays, it's the day when children of all ages treat their mum to something special. It's one of the busiest days of the year for florists and restaurants, and millions of mums enjoy a special breakfast in bed which their children have lovingly prepared.
Day of the Dead. One day that has special meaning in Mexico is November the 2nd, which, according to legend, is the Day of the Dead. Families gather to remember relatives who have died and have a special picnic by their gravesides, with unusual foods, including chocolate and sweets, which are made into a variety of animal or skull shapes.
Module 7, Recording 3.
The Cannes Film Festival, which takes place in May every year, attracts the biggest names in the film industry.
It's the day when Japanese families wish their children happiness, good health and success.
Module 7, Recording 4. A.
The Cannes Film Festival, which takes place in May every year, attracts the biggest names in the film industry.
B.
Steve Redgrave, who has won medals at 5 Olympic Games, is one of Britain's best-known sportsmen.
C.
The Winter Olympics, which normally take place in January or February, are held every 4 years.
D.
Madonna, who has been an international star for over 20 years, had her first hit single in 1984.
E.
The annual Bull Running Festival takes place in Pamplona, which is a city in northern Spain.
Module 7, Recording 5.
There is plenty of evidence that people who eat too many burgers can become ill, whether or not that's because of something in the food itself which could be addictive in some way, or whether it's just simple overeating. Well, I think there's no clear answer to that. Yet. Although it's true to say that humans can't actually survive without any salt, we actually need very little of it. About 6 grams a day, which is about a teaspoonful, is actually more than enough. And indeed, too much salt can be extremely bad for you. There's an old saying that an apple a day keeps the doctor away, which may or may not be true, but in fact you're more likely to have problems with the dentist. Many modern apples contain a great deal of sugar, in some cases as much as 4 teaspoons in one apple. So, if you eat a lot of apples, it's a good idea to clean your teeth afterwards. There are actually over 10,000 types of mushroom, and most of them, the great majority in fact, are completely harmless. But there are some varieties of mushroom which are poisonous, and a few which can actually kill you. There are a number of deaths through eating poisonous mushrooms every year, so it's best to be careful.
Module 7, Recording 6. A.
Go on, have a bit more. I insist. Have the last piece, Bella.
Thank you. It was lovely, but just a tiny portion. I'm rather full.
Go on, I insist. Have the last piece, Bella.
No, really. I'm fine, thank you. It was lovely, but I couldn't possibly manage any more.
B.
Oh dear, how clumsy of me. I'm terribly sorry. Let me get a cloth.
Don't worry, it doesn't matter in the slightest.
C.
You know Vera, don't you, Bella?
Hi there, Bella. Of course she knows me. How are things with you then?
Hello, Vera. How lovely to see you again. It seems ages since we last met. Let me see, when was it?
D.
You must try some of this spinach salad, Bella. It's their speciality.
Actually, I'm afraid I can't eat spinach. It doesn't agree with me. Unfortunately, it brings me out in a rash.
Oh, dear.
E.
It's been lovely to see you again, Bella. You must come and spend a day with us sometime, mustn't she, Mary? How about next weekend for Sunday lunch?
Oh, that's really sweet of you, Uncle Jeff. It's really nice of you to think of me. I'd love to come, but I don't think I'll be able to make it then. I've got some really important exams starting that week. Perhaps some other time when I'm not so busy?
Module 7, Recording 7. A.
I'm fine, thank you.
B.
I couldn't possibly manage any more.
C.
Don't worry.
D.
It doesn't matter in the slightest.
E.
How lovely to see you again.
F.
I'm afraid I can't eat spinach.
G.
I'd love to come.
H.
But I don't think I'll be able to.
Module 7, Recording 8. 1.
Do you normally take your time getting up in the morning?
2.
Do you know anyone who's really good at taking photos? Who?
3.
If someone asks you to take a seat, do you stand up or sit down?
4.
If you took up a new sport or interest, what would it be?
5.
Do you ever have to take care of small children? Who?
6.
Which sports do you play? Do you take it seriously?
7.
When you arrive home, what's the first thing you take off?
8.
Who do you take after more in terms of appearance, your mother or your father?
9.
Have you ever taken part in a concert? What was it?
10.
How long did it take you to get here today?
11.
Have any important historical events ever taken place in your town?
12.
Have you taken any notes during this lesson? What about?
Module 7, Recording 9.
In stressed syllables, the letter E is often pronounced E, as in Wednesday. Other examples, festival and precious. In unstressed syllables, the letter can be 1, pronounced as e, as in revolutionary. Other examples: demonstration and sensation. 2, pronounced a, as in celebration. Other examples: flower and cookery. 3, pronounced I, as in event. Other examples: enough and eccentric. 4, silent, as in every. Other examples: vanished and vegetable. 5, double E is usually pronounced as a long E, as in week. Other examples: cheese and 3.
Module 8, Recording 1. 1.
As a child, he had a burning ambition to be rich and famous.
2.
While still a teenager, he ran away from home and went to live in the big city.
3.
As well as doing casual jobs, he took any acting parts he could get in order to gain experience.
4.
After several years of struggling to make ends meet, he finally got his first big break in a popular TV soap opera.
5.
The soap got him noticed, and soon afterwards he was offered the starring role in a Hollywood movie.
6.
The movie was a huge hit and he became an overnight sensation.
7.
Soon he was the idol of millions of people and was the centre of constant media attention.
8.
But hounded by the paparazzi, he became tired of constantly being in the public eye and began to be seen less and less in public.
9.
Slowly but surely his career went into decline, and he rarely left his huge mansion.
10.
Some years later, he attempted to make a comeback, but he was unable to recapture the success of his early years.
Module 8, Recording 2.
Do you know the way to San Jose? I've been away so long, I may go wrong and lose my way. Do you know the way to San Jose? I'm going back to find some peace of mind in San Jose. LA is a great big freeway. Put 100 down and buy a car. In a week, maybe 2, they'll make you a star. Weeks turn into years, how quick they pass. And all the stars that never were are parking cars and pumping gas. Do you know the way to San Jose? They've got a lot of space. There'll be a place where I can stay. I was born and raised in San Jose. I'm going back to find some peace of mind in San Jose. Fame and fortune is a magnet. It can pull you far away from home. With a dream in your heart, you're never alone. Dreams turn into dust and blow away. And there you are, without a friend. You pack your car and ride away. I've got lots of friends in San Jose. Do you know the way to San Jose?
Module 8, Recording 3.
Well, this article is about something called CWS, which stands for Celebrity Worship Syndrome. And this is something that some psychologists at a university in the UK have discovered. And they say it affects a lot of people, as many as 1 in 3, in fact. A key word from the article is syndrome. A syndrome is a kind of behaviour that is typical of a particular psychological problem. And another important word in the article is obsessed. If you are obsessed with something, it means that you think about it all the time. You can't think about anything else. The noun is obsession. So you can say that some people have an obsession with famous people like David Beckham or Jennifer Lopez. And finally, pathological. Pathological means strong, unreasonable, uncontrollable feelings. A kind of madness, really. So, as I said, according to the article, 1 in 3 people in the survey have CWS in some form, and the number is apparently going up. Apparently, some psychologists at the University of Leicester did some research on 700 people, and they found that 22% of people had the mild version of the syndrome, which isn't really a problem. You tend to talk about your favourite celebrity a lot and bore your friends. 12% have the moderate form, and 2% are hardcore sufferers, which means that they are really, really obsessed and can be solitary and antisocial. Borderline pathological is the term they use. The article also discusses why this is happening. One theory is that it's to do with families becoming less important, and people are replacing friends and family with celebrities, people who they don't even know. I think it raises the question of the kind of TV programmes and videos people watch. In my opinion, people spend far too much time looking at screens. I think it's unhealthy, really. What I wondered was whether this is more of a problem for men or women. It doesn't actually tell you in the article, and I'd be interested to know what other people think about that. And another thing that might be interesting to discuss is whether or not men...
Consolidation Modules 5 to 8. Recording 1. A.
Toddler Aru Ibirum, who lives in Bradford, Yorkshire, miraculously survived after a 38-ton lorry ran her over as she lay in her pushchair. The lorry driver, who was unaware of what was happening, pulled up after he heard an unusual scraping noise. Aru, whose pushchair had been dragged along for nearly a kilometre, was discovered with just a few cuts and bruises. An astonished elderly woman who saw the whole thing happen told reporters, "You wouldn't have believed a child could have come out of that alive."
B.
An Australian man who has been suffering for years finally discovered the cause of his acute backache last week. It was due to a shark's tooth which had been stuck in his spine for almost 48 years. Leo Ryan, 66, who will be having an operation to remove the tooth, had been attacked by the shark as a teenager. In the accident, which happened off the Gold Coast, where he had been swimming, he also lost 3 fingers and part of his arm. "That shark was determined to hang on to me," he told reporters.